There are different kinds of T lymphocytes, and they have different roles in coronavirus infections. Cytotoxic T lymphocytes, they can recognize infected cells because cell ID badges known as MHC proteins, major histocompatibility complex proteins, bind peptides in the cytoplasm, which could include peptides from the virus, and then transported to the cell membrane so that a passing cytotoxic T lymphocyte can bind the cell ID badge with this foreign peptide and realize that there is a foreign virus inside the cell. The cytotoxic T lymphocyte can then secrete proteins known as perforins, which generate a hole in the infected cell which kills it, or they can trigger what's known as programmed cell death or apoptosis in the infected cell so that the cell kills itself. The helper T lymphocytes are essential because they give permission for other parts of the immune system to act. They give the cytotoxic T lymphocytes permission. Otherwise, they would not be able to kill cells. They also give the B lymphocytes permission to make antibodies. And so these helper T lymphocytes, they interact with a group of cells known as antigen-presenting cells, cells like monocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells, and even B lymphocytes, which ingest either the coronavirus particle or proteins from the coronavirus, and then present peptides from those foreign proteins on MHC2 cell ID badges. These antigen-presenting cells and the helper T lymphocytes can stimulate each other with local hormones known as interleukins, and then the T helper lymphocytes can go and activate other parts of the immune system. So while the B lymphocytes and their production of antibodies may be crucial in the immunity to coronavirus, T helper lymphocytes are required to give those B lymphocytes permission before they make those antibodies. There are other types of T lymphocytes, and a role that they play, in addition to the lymphocytes previously mentioned, are to secrete local hormones which help to regulate immune mechanisms so that there is a balance. So, for example, there are signals which promote inflammation, there are signals which oppose inflammation, there are signals which cause the differentiation of certain types of immune cells instead of others. And all of this needs to be kept in balance. One of the great problems in coronavirus is the imbalance which exists. So there is an overwhelming preponderance of pro-inflammatory signals leading to a cytokine storm which has devastating effects throughout the body, so that those who have the worst disease outcomes from coronavirus, it is not really the virus which is directly responsible, but rather the imbalanced response of the body to it. And so the T lymphocytes, which are needed for this balance, clearly there is a problem in severe coronavirus disease. While it is not yet known why T lymphocytes are not able to maintain the normal balance, a key factor probably is that T lymphocyte numbers drastically decrease during severe coronavirus infections. One of the best ways of predicting which infections will be mild versus severe is to look at the neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio. In normal patients, neutrophils may outnumber lymphocytes by a factor of 3 or so, but this ratio drastically gets tilted towards the neutrophils in severe cases, so that those who are suffering the worst have fewer lymphocytes and more neutrophils. And it is both the cytotoxic T lymphocytes, the helper T lymphocytes, in addition to B lymphocytes and natural killer cells, which are like lymphocytes. all of these populations decrease in the worst coronavirus infections.